Once upon a time there was a pretty fly. He had a pretty wife, this pretty fly. But one day she flew away, flew away.
Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Five Guys Movies and Fries podcast, where we review and discuss movies. Today we're going to be talking about Night of the Hunter. Night of the Hunter is a 1955 black and white movie. It's blends genres, film noir meets Southern Gothic with a little bit of fantasy, surrealism in it. It was influenced by silent movies and German expressionism, specifically the shadows, the contrasting shadows, and the angles of sets on screen. Directed by Charles Laughton, who at the time was only known as an actor. He was a very famous actor. Decided to direct a movie, but it was a commercial and critical flop at the time, and he never directed a movie again. He died shortly after. But it's since been reevaluated as one of the greatest movies of all time. It stars Robert Mitchum as Harry Powell, Lillian Gish as Miss Cooper, Shelley Winters as Mrs. Harper, I think. Yeah. And then, of course, there's the two children, John and Pearl. It's about a widow-making traveling preacher who has a cellmate who entrusts $10,000 to his two children, and I looked it up. That's about $170,000 in 2020 money.
It's a bunch.
And the preacher then marries the widow to get the money. My question for you guys is, where have you seen influences from this movie in movies that have been made since? There's a lot of movies that have thrown in homages and Easter eggs to this movie. And obviously, a lot of movies are influenced just by the genre and the way of telling this kind of story. So, who are some of the directors you know of who have been influenced by Night of the Hunter? And I'll pass the torch to Jesk first.
So I can't think of any movies offhand that pull directly from it, like direct homages. I could definitely see just the way that this movie is shot. Like, I can see its influence broadly in a lot of indie movies that I watch. A lot of the things that I see are its influence just on pop culture as a whole. Like, shit, if you go down to the cinema downtown, there's a massive mural of Robert Mitchum's character when he has his hand on the thing, on the banister, and has
I recognize that image from somewhere.
Yep. There's a huge mural of it down at the cinema, and I see stuff like that all the time. This is definitely one of those movies I feel like I've been swirling for years. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see the influence in some ways. It's more, I feel like the influence that I see is more just from German expressionism as a whole than from this movie. But that could just be because I haven't seen any movies that directly pull from it.
Well, that was an influence on Night of the Hunter. I'm talking about movies that were influenced by Night of the Hunter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is I think a lot of the influences that I would feel came from this probably just came from German expressionism as a whole.
Gotcha.
Who else has got something?
Really can't think of.
Yeah. Me either.
That's
That's what I'm talking about. Like, that's the kind of question I'd want to have in my mind while I'm watching it.
Yeah.
There's definitely something I'll keep in mind, though. Maybe I might have something later in the call.
Yeah, I'll wait till the end to give you a few examples.
I guess from what I'm seeing, it's some films that have received influence are like Coen Brothers' Raising Arizona and The Big Lebowski.
Oh, Raising Arizona is actually a good shout out there.
Yeah.
I think about that movie for 2 seconds and I can totally see it.
Yeah, I mean, the homage is the quote about abiding. That's the Coen Brothers is a good example, but I don't know. What's your thought process on Raising Arizona?
Oh, that's literally something I looked up.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
For me, I guess the first movie that kind of pops into my mind, oddly enough, is There Will Be Blood.
Sure, yeah.
Sure.
I see a lot of like visual similarities, but also just the idea of this father figure using his child as a way to get money, I guess you could say.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, he's also quite an imposing force. Both Harry Powell and the lead character of There Will Be Blood, that I can't remember the name of at the moment.
Daniel Plainview.
Thank you. Yes. But I could definitely see some similarities between the two of them.
Yeah, and blending religion and horror is another
Yep.
theme of this movie.
Yeah, it's hard for me to take. Oh, go ahead.
There's also, I mean, there's a ton of movies where like kids have a MacGuffin and a bad guy's trying to get it from them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a pretty worn formula by
Just
now.
the idea of
had to start somewhere.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
The idea of that bad figure, like the person trying to take the MacGuffin from the children, being a member of their family and sneaking his way into their family, especially done in this way. Because like you see stuff like that in like newer crappy family movies all the time, like Freaky Friday and garbage movies like that. But to see it done this well, like he's imposing, you know what I mean? Like he feels like a bad stepdad, you know, like he just feels like a piece of shit coming in, and the kids see it, you know, and like nobody around him believes him. It just has this tinge of horror to it. Like I felt for those kids through the majority of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. What'd you guys think about the score?
Great.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I think it really it puts you in the emotional mindset, you know, which is what it's there for.
Mm.
I feel like I've heard that opening song in a number of other things, but and I like it. But trying to think of the name of it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It almost felt a little overbearing at times, but then I was like, this movie's like 80, 70 years old or whatever. Like,
it is, yeah.
Meaning on Everlasting.
I think that's the style back then was for the score. I mean, they're like not that far in front of, you know, silent movies where the score was literally all the sound, you know?
Yeah.
So the medium was evolving, you know?
This is
a step in it.
This is probably one of the first older movies I've seen where the score didn't take me out of it. Like a lot of times I think the reason I bounce off of older flicks is just because I don't like the scores. Like I get that they were good at the time, but growing up with the movies that I've grown up with now, it's really hard to go back and listen to these orchestras and these flutes and shit, especially in a movie that's supposed to be a horror movie. But this one felt like it really leaned into the horror sounds.
Yeah.
There was one scene where I thought I was kind of thrown off by the score is during the excuse me. God, I've got
the boat scene.
No, not necessarily the boat scene. I really liked Pearl's lullaby. Like Pearl's lullaby that she sings there is great.
Yeah, I feel like some people would complain that it was dubbed. But
the scene, the Willa's death scene, it's shot to put, you know, a sense of dread right on Willa, but then it goes into kind of this much more positive sounding score after.
Yep.
I didn't feel the suspense during the second half of that scene because the movie shifted right after Harry slaps her.
Yeah, a modern movie would have, you know, dragged out the murder scene much longer too.
I kind of like that it didn't. And you can definitely see the German expressionism in that scene specifically with just those really stark shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah. And their bedroom was supposed to look like a chapel.
Ooh, I get that. Yeah.
Oh.
And she has a halo over her head when she dies as well.
I did catch that. She also, maybe it's from the same scene, I might be mixing it up, but she yeah, I think it is from that same scene. Yeah, she's like got her head on the pillow and then there's the light around it. Yeah, same scene. Yep.
I really like the motif. How whenever you hear leaning, can you guys hear this?
No.
Heard
No.
heard it for a second, and then it went quiet.
Okay, I put some of these audio files in a soundboard,
Oh, nice.
but they're playing from my speakers, which is too far away from the mic. But yeah, I was saying I like the motif. How as soon as you hear leaning, you feel fear. The barn scene is the best example. When they're sleeping in the barn, and then they
Yeah,
hear it before you see him, and then you see it. Yeah. And I'm wondering, what is his deal? Does he actually never sleep? Like, but
That would explain why he's fucking crazy.
Yes, it would.
I'm not even sure that dude was actually a preacher. That's the crazy. I don't know if he was
No.
just a con man saying he was a preacher, if he was actually a preacher.
you're actually
I think
right.
he believed what he's saying because, like, he's saying that shit to himself in the car at the beginning.
When I was
Like,
reading,
Yeah,
if it was an act, he wouldn't be doing the act all by himself.
I suppose, yeah.
what I read
So
in
I
the
think
wiki
he
is
believes
that.
it.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. What I read in the wiki was that in the original book, he is a preacher, but audiences would have a very difficult time seeing a preacher doing something so evil. So they decided to just have Robert Mitchum portray a criminal who fakes as a preacher.
Sure.
Yeah, that's right. And it was also during the time of the Hays Code where they would censor themselves because there was all these things were prohibited. They couldn't show religion being shown in that kind of light. So they changed a few lines, like when he's talking to the judge, and the judge just calls him Harry Powell, and then he says, no, it's Reverend Harry Powell, and the judge doesn't correct himself. So they changed a few lines to make it seem like he was sort of a con man and not an ordained minister. But it's pretty bold in 1955 to show a murdering preacher.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie was surprisingly dark for the time. Like,
Although, like, they barely show the murder.
Yeah, no, you're
Like,
right.
he kind of leans over with a knife, and that's it. Cut.
yeah, just the fact that, like, their dad gets arrested and then hung, and then, like, that scene with the mom. Oh my god, that scene with the mom in the river. It shows her in the car with her hair flowing in the river. Such a great shot.
It was a
Yeah.
great shot. How did they get that shot?
It was a mannequin, not a real person.
Okay. Well, yeah,
Okay.
of course, but like, how do you get a shot through water? Like no river in existence is that clear.
It was
Right.
not in a real river.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know everything about this movie. They filmed it all. They know it all. It was all on a stage. They
Okay.
filmed everything, including when they were traveling down the river.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, I remember thinking when you see the car at the bottom of the river, I was like, what river are you ever going to see?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, because it was so clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
gotcha.
what got me was the dude up top in the boat being able to look down and see her. Like, you'd never be able to just look into a river and see exactly what's down there.
Not nowadays.
Yeah, I really liked that scene. A lot of the cinematography in this movie was fantastic, especially like the flying shots in the beginning. I was like, how the hell did they do these back then?
Some of those looked pretty shaky to me, but
Yeah,
Oh.
they were, cool.
just even still, like, for the technology they had back then, like, I was like, what was this, like, on a plane? Like, because then there's the one that like floats right down to the
You're
barn
right.
where the first lady's killed, and I'm like, was this like a balloon
Oh,
that they did in
right.
reverse or something? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
How the fuck did they do that?
I'm feeling
I
like
mean,
it was one
nowadays
of,
you do a drone, but
Yeah,
That I
I
don't
would
know.
guess it's on like a ripcord and a pulley.
I mean, it was pretty
Probably.
high up though.
Super high crane.
That could be
Possible.
that. Yeah.
It was pretty impressive either way. I was like, whoa, this is pretty dang good for how
or
old
was
this
it
is.
just like high up and they zoomed? Did they have?
No, it couldn't have been that. It was
No?
too clear when it was, because then the camera was on the ground.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like they probably did it from like a hot air balloon and then did it in reverse. Like they just start. It looks like it's floating
Oh,
down,
sure.
but they
Yeah.
actually filmed it. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
and that's pretty fucking impressive too that they were able to pull that off. If that's what they did.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
Yo, I did not. I really liked Miss Cooper at the end of the movie, but I really did not like Harper in the beginning. Harper was driving me nuts. That's the chick who worked at the ice cream shop, right? Like the older woman who worked at the ice cream shop.
Her name was Icy Spoon.
Dude,
So
I
that-
hated that woman.
Yeah, yeah. Mrs. Harper was the mom of the children.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hate Icy Spoon too, and she led the mob at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. That mob was crazy.
That scene was kind of mixed. I mean, there's like, I don't know. Keep going with what you were saying, Jess, about Icy Spoon.
Well, I was just gonna flip right over to the crowd at the end because I felt like that really didn't. I'm not exactly sure what the point of that was.
Yeah,
So
I've had
That's
to
where the movie
look it
goes
up.
off the rails for me.
I guess he still had some followers in his hometown, and Icy Spoon was the leader of them. I guess because at the trial everyone was yelling Bluebeard, which if you don't know, that means wife killer. And then like it's so short afterwards. Then the people have kind of changed their mind, but it's a different group of people. It's kind of rushed at the ending.
Yeah, I couldn't pick up quite what it was trying to go for at all.
That's my big qualm with this movie is that there's sort of a confused message. Because when you watch the first half of it, it seems like the message is going to be that the children need to grow up fast, take care of yourselves if you're going to survive. But then they find Miss Cooper, and then she's just their protector. And the message seems to be that it's a tough world for little things.
Yeah.
Yo, I don't doubt for a second that Cooper would have taken him out
Oh yeah,
real quick.
that lady
That's-
messing around.
I'm surprised she didn't quicker.
That scream he does.
So funny.
Oh my god, that was fucking.
He was howling
that
on
was
his way out
Looney
the-
Tunes level.
Out the door.
Yeah, it sounded like Goofy, straight up.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It was looped a couple times.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh my god, that was terrible.
That was some insane shit.
That was kind of weird. I did like his scream when he was chasing them, trying to get into their boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was actually terrifying.
Yeah. Some of the stuff that he did was truly like horrifying. Like he did a fantastic job.
That whole bit where he's chasing after him on the way to the boat, it felt like they couldn't find a way to make him slower than the kids, so they just have to just trip again. Just trip again. No, that mud's really slippery. We need you to slip real quick. Felt like watching somebody try to start a car in a horror movie, just could not get it done.
They're like, throw some more brush in front of him. Even more brush. Like, put some more brush in front of
All
him.
the brush.
He's just
I don't-
cutting
I
it
don't-
with his fucking pocket knife, too. Like, no.
I don't know. I disagree with that. I was invested in those scenes. When he chased them out of the basement and into the boat, I thought it was pretty realistic.
It wasn't until they got to the boat that it started to feel not that way. Like him chasing them, like they keep doing the cuts back and forth to show that he's like far away and running up. And that was
Yeah.
like believable. But like right towards the end, it really felt like he was getting too close to the boat. So we need to find ways to keep him away from the boat. Like just at that last bit of the chase scene there. I did really like the beginning of it though, like you were saying in the basement.
Right.
That felt
Yeah.
super imposing. I like that a lot. He just felt imposing in general. Honestly.
Yeah.
Like every time he
Yeah.
was around the kids, I felt uncomfortable.
Well, he's so much taller than everybody else in the movie too,
Mm-hmm.
especially the kids.
The shot of him creeping up the stairs with his hands extended is one of the best in this
Yeah.
movie for
Yeah.
me. But I feel like in the water, like it was deep water, it was muddy. Like John and Pearl had trouble getting to the boat too.
True.
Yeah. But they're lighter, so they'd have a little less trouble, right? in mud.
I don't know. Is that how that works?
I would think so.
That's what I was looking at because I wanted to make sure when Harry was pursuing them to the skiff that he wasn't going like knee deep into the water and into the mud, and so and just noticing that it's just him dropping down to his knee to slip on the mud and whatnot. But
Oh, I thought he was knee deep.
Okay.
Oh.
I tried to take a close look at his left leg when he slips one of those times on the mud, and at first I wanted to see whether he actually submerges, but I can see his foot behind him, so he's intentionally slipping just to
He
Oh, sure.
slipped.
play
Okay.
the scene well. But
Yeah.
it works, I guess.
It worked for me, but I don't know.
Go ahead.
I'm a big fan of hidden information from audiences. I really love the fact that you don't know where the money is until maybe
Yes.
a quarter of the way from the movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you guys figure it out though?
No.
I knew immediately.
No way.
Yeah, like literally within like I was like, oh, she's got a doll. He's gonna put it in the fucking doll.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's where it is. And then sure enough, I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, and he was telling him to protect Pearl because he knows Pearl is going to keep that doll with her.
That makes
There you
sense.
go.
Yeah.
I
Did
don't
you
know.
realize-
That all
Felt
makes
super
sense
obvious
now.
to me.
Yeah.
It didn't to me. Wow.
What can I
Did
say?
that-
I'd make a good murder guy with money. I don't know. You guys need some murder money ahead, just come to me.
You need a murder guy with money.
I'm your guy with money and murder.
Did that impair your experience?
No, not at all. No, I actually really like this movie, and I had a hard time watching it because I was trying to deal with my baby the entire time. So that was like a bit of a, I mean, obviously I'm focused on him, so then it's like I'm not focused on the movie as much as I'd like to, but I still paid good enough attention to know, pretty much what was going on the whole time, and really enjoyed it. I felt like there was a few parts that got a little bit long-winded, but I think that's just a product of the times. These older movies, they weren't as snappy as we like them now because we're all, on to the next thing every 10 seconds, thanks to the fast-paced world we live in now. So,
Yeah.
but no, it certainly didn't impair it.
Yeah, they don't even lean into it. Like, there's no like close-up shots of the doll all the time.
Yeah, it's until you find out, I can see how people wouldn't know. I don't know. It just seemed obvious to me right away because I'm always looking for like the hiding spots in video games and shit like that. And so I was just like, oh, it's going to go in the doll. Like that's the best place to put it.
It was a solid spot too.
Yep.
Like for a while there, I was like, where'd he stash it around the house? And I was like, there's no way he stashed it around the house. For a minute, I thought he had it on the skiff.
Oh yeah.
But I couldn't put it together on how he would have gotten
Sure.
the skiff and back in time. But it's
Right,
like
yeah.
that's where my brain went. I was like, it's got to be on the skiff.
I love that guy who helped him with the skiff, Uncle. I don't know what his name was.
Uncle Billy.
Yeah, he
Or
was.
Birdie.
He was
Birdie.
great.
Yeah.
Tiptoe.
What a character! Holy
That
shit!
dude dropped the ball. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
I did like the whole time. He's like, "You ever need me? You come to me." And then the one time they come to him, he's just passed out drunk on the floor.
Just shit faced.
Go, Uncle Bill.
Yeah, I liked him a lot though. Almost every line he had was like a weird phrase, like old timey phrase, and they're really funny.
Yeah.
And then like the song that he was singing to with his banjo was great.
Yeah, a lot of how can I not think of the word? Music in the movie, not soundtrack, but like a lot of people singing and whistling.
Diegetic.
Yes, thank you.
Diegetic, yeah.
A lot of diegetic music in this movie. I like that the preacher is constantly singing when he's coming up.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like both imposing plus the dude can sing, so it's nice too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked. Worked really well.
That I couldn't help but think that one of the kids that was hitting on was it Ruby? Was her name?
Yeah.
Looked
Yeah.
a lot like Jimmy Stewart to me. Like I know it wasn't. It was way too young to be Jimmy Stewart, but he looked like Jimmy Stewart. Mitchum has the biggest butt chin I've ever seen. I'm looking at pictures of this dude right now. That dude is the biggest butt chin.
Comparable to
Yeah.
that of Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, I haven't really seen him in much. I'm like looking through his list right now, and
I'm sure that I haven't.
I think I saw him in Patton for sure. I'm like looking through other stuff, and I'm not really seeing a whole lot.
It's maybe the first film I've seen him in. For all I
Oh,
know.
he played Philip Marlowe in a movie, Farewell, My Lovely. Nice.
I really
And Big Sleep.
like the scene where he's like really trying to get the like where the location of the money is out of them right before they go to the basement, and Pearl's like, but John said I couldn't tell you or something like that, and he's like, John doesn't matter. It's like, damn.
Yeah, he flipped pretty quickly when he was interrogating Pearl.
Yes, that was a great scene. I really liked the way that he acted there. I thought he did a great job.
He's made some music. He's got a couple albums here.
It's not surprising.
The man Robert Mitchum sings. Calypso is like so.
Nice.
Oof.
Here's a picture of him at the 1991 Cannes.
I wanted to touch on the scene where they're floating away in the boat too. I absolutely loved that scene. It had like a dreamlike quality to it that like movies nowadays just can't touch for some reason. I don't know. I think it's a product of the time kind of thing, but it felt a lot like if you guys ever watched the movie Finian's Rainbow, that movie has a lot of moments like that. Which is a fantastic movie and we should do sometime on here because it's an older movie that I've actually watched and it's great. But I don't know, that whole scene where they're just floating away and like the stars blinking in the background and everything. It just, movies can't do that anymore. You know, they look too good nowadays to capture that kind of weird haziness.
I love the way the stars looked fake in that. Like it looks perfect.
Yeah, and the shot with like the cobweb or just like a normal web, I suppose. But yeah, it all, I don't know. And then her lullaby there is great. It all comes together to make like this weird kind of like cutting point for the movie. And I guess that is where the movie kind of turns, right? Because like up until that point, it was like how you said, you know, and then from that point on, it's more about this lady's going to take care of you.
Yeah, that is one of the best scenes, really influential, probably on Guillermo del Toro, as well as the underwater scene.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Good point.
Yeah, it probably is like representing their dreams on the boat. That's something he did making this movie. Another interesting example is when Ruby goes into town, there's neon signs attached to buildings. Mm-hmm. There's just like signs that say restaurant and things like that aren't actually attached to stores.
Drugs.
Yeah, drugs.
Drugs really stood out. Yeah.
I loved it. I was like, as soon as I saw that, it just went through my head. I was like, so could you just like go to the store and just buy drugs back then? And I was like, yeah, you could. Yeah. Because they didn't give a shit back then.
You talking about all the drug signs everywhere?
Yeah.
This whole movie is, I mean, it's a commentary on the kind of shit you could get away with. Is it supposed to be set in like the Depression?
In the 30s, yeah.
Yeah. It's like in the time when, you know, communication just wasn't what it is now or anywhere near it. Like where you could go from town to town, marrying widows and taking their money.
And getting away with it.
And just killing people all over with no consequence.
Right.
Yeah, he was basically like, he was like a serial killer before they knew what serial killers were, kind of. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
did you see that this is based on a true story?
Yeah.
Damn, no. I did not know that.
It's influenced by a serial killer, but it's based on a book.
But it's this guy who, you know, would
he was a widowmaker.
Widows and kill them, take their money.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Reception when it came out, and people are just hating on it. Objectionable.
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 Out of the question.
Next time I see a bad movie, I'm gonna call it objectionable.
Yeah.
I'm bringing it back.
Blasphemy.
New Batman
How do
movie,
you find
objectionable.
reviews? Yeah.
I wonder if half
Yeah.
those people are just offended because it's damaged their Christian beliefs.
Yeah, that's probably you probably couldn't
Probably.
make a movie that said anything about Christians back then,
No.
like you can now.
Yeah, you couldn't say the word God or Jesus or Christ in a context that wasn't reverent.
Right.
Yeah, that's whack.
That's one of the
whack as
things.
fuck.
Out of all the things in this movie, I think the one thing that really I struggled with as a viewer was just how hard it leaned into Christianity. Like it just had these really strong Christian themes, especially from like Harper at the end, not Harper,
I see.
Cooper at the end.
Oh,
Yeah, like it just ends with like her talking about scripture and shit, and it's just there's just a lot of that towards the end of the movie, and I get why it's there because it contrasts with him. Like you see her being like true Christian and taking the kids in, and like looking out for him versus him who's like faux Christian and like trying to steal money and hanging out at whore houses and walking around with a
I don't even know
switchblade.
I don't even know if he was Christian because he like
Well, that's the whole idea. I think that's the whole idea.
Right,
is
right.
like he's just playing at it versus somebody
Well,
who actually is.
well I don't even know if he was playing at it really because like he never explicitly talks about Christ, does he? Like he just
No.
like
He talks about the
Like
Old
he
Testament.
sings all these religious songs.
yeah, and talks about like the Old Testament and like God and stuff, but Jesus was from the New Testament, right? So
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that was kind of like the dichotomy there is like he's the Old Testament, that's what he believes in. That's why he's all down with like murder and shit. And he even says like in the beginning or whatever, he's like, you kill plenty of people. You're cool with that or whatever. Like, whoa, okay, this
Right.
dude's batshit.
I
Well,
think
it's really just like people taking what they want from religion and
Yes.
forgetting the rest.
Good
Conveniently,
old cherry
you know?
picking.
Yeah,
Right.
you're right. And at one of the final scenes where Lillian Gish is singing, or Robert Mitchum is singing "Leaning," Lillian Gish starts singing "Leaning on
That
Jesus."
was
Yes.
so
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was I loved that scene. I thought it was great.
One thing I
It
don't
worked
get
well.
at the beginning of the movie, it almost plays like he's this serial killer who likes to kill women of ill repute. Like every time a girl starts to like flirt with him or get a little too, I'm going to use the term slutty, but that's just how the movie viewed it.
Yeah.
He isn't like the switchblade was just out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when like Ruby's flirting with him, the switchblade's just out, and they push that really
thing at the
hard.
beginning.
But I don't see how that translates into anything important in regards to the plot.
I don't know if this is for the plot, but I think it like is a stand-in for his erection, essentially.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because as soon
Why
as that shit happens, every time he just like it just pops out and he pokes the hole in his jacket like several times because of it. It's like, well, you know, I mean,
Yeah, it was pretty overt when he's like at the strip club and it's just like poking out of the hole in his coat.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, buddy.
Yeah.
Take
Like,
away,
you
man.
you can see that same kind of thing in like probably 75% of the episodes of Criminal Minds, right?
Yeah.
Where someone is aroused and they kill the woman, you know?
Yeah.
That's
Good old Criminal Minds.
He like goes out of his way to like not sleep with the mother.
Mhm.
And that really got me thinking a little bit because like you would think if he was of ill repute, like if he wasn't actually like a preacher or a Christian man, that he would jump right up in there. And he's like so opposed to it. He's just like, what are you, nuts? Like absolutely no way.
I mean, he lays out that he's opposed to having children. I think he just doesn't want to be fathering children all over the
Oh,
country.
okay. I misunderstood what he was saying there.
I
Yeah.
think, and I'm just throwing this out there, he may have been a virgin.
Maybe.
You think so?
He
I
could have.
kinda-
He could have also been a closeted homosexual. the
Yeah,
director-
possibly,
the
yeah.
director
something like
was.
that. Because he
Yeah.
like
Okay.
he like explicitly acts like he doesn't even want to have sex at all. And it
Yeah.
seems like, I don't know, to me it came from a place of like an like awkwardness almost, and then like through that like anger, almost in an incel kind of way, like people are now. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. That's just how I kind of read that.
Yeah, he was like ready to shut her down when she came out of the bathroom
Yeah.
in that early scene. Like he's just like shut the window. Like the moment she said something, he's like, "Listen, bitch," and
Of
just
course
like
you want to have
immediately lays
sex
it
with
down.
me. Yeah, because you're a slut. That's basically how he acted, and it's like no, that's not right. But you're a crazy psychopath, so you would think weird ways like that. So
And that's where I get the mixed feeling from, is because they push his character like that, especially early in the movie. They push his character as this guy who's just like super opposed to women being of ill repute, but really the core of the movie is just about him trying to get the money from these kids. So I don't see where the two really play together so much. I'm probably just not putting it together.
it's just like plot stuff.
I think if he was also physically taking advantage of the woman, it would push that. I mean, we've talked about how we can't show the audience a preacher killing people or whatever, you know, like it would just be another button that would be getting pushed on the Christians, you know.
I was crazy enough when you like see the murder happen. Pretty much, I was like, "Whoa!" For a movie this old, that's intense.
So they cut that out of the plot. It seems like to just like you said, to keep the focus on him just trying to get the money from the kids. You know?
Is it
he
like
looked like straight up Nosferatu over her bed
yeah,
in that last scene?
Is it like that in the book, Joe?
I've never read it.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
thanks, man.
I mean, I could skim the Wikipedia and get back to you, but
all right, let's pause,
I don't know.
and then Joe's going to get back to us with his cliff notes. Hold on, viewer. We'll be right back. Or listener.
Nick, you haven't had a chance to chime in too much. What are your thoughts?
Well, I guess we're just pretty much focusing on discussion and not passing a torch or anything.
Yeah, I just noticed that you haven't chimed in too much, so I want to make sure we're not trampling over you.
Yeah, no, not at all. I've just pretty much been in the background, just sort of just trying to take in everything because I'm very. I could say I easily say I'm the most airheaded of the bunch here, where I just kind of try to soak up what people are saying rather than try to process it.
I mean, I just call you a piece of shit, but sure, Nick.
Yeah.
No, what you got, man?
Tell her it's 10:15, and then turn on the light.
Throw some notes at us. Well, Jeff yells at his girlfriend.
Fucking. I thought it was cute during the scene where Pearl is cutting up the money. And then when John comes in and he just like he tried to put it back in. She's like, "It's all here," as if she actually like went through the process of counting it like a criminal. Like,
yeah,
I couldn't help but chuckle at her saying, "It's all here."
Dude, I hated that little girl.
Let me tell you though, she didn't give it up. She didn't give it up.
No. It's true.
Damn, that's funny. Molander's like this bitch. No, yeah, she was. I mean, you know, she's like an annoying little girl. What are you gonna do?
Speaking of the kids, though, I gotta say, John, the kid who played John was not a terrible child actor.
Yes, thank you.
That's good.
Next thing I was gonna fucking say, Billy Chapin, the kid who played John, he's a handsome ass kid, and he seemed like he was nailing his parts left and right.
Yeah, he wasn't doing usually I can't stand child actors, but like I didn't hate him when he was on screen, so that's definitely a good thing.
There's always so many ways to go with like child actors, because I mean when you actually like get sucked into their parts, like into their scenes, and it's hard to tell whether they're just like they've had the best coaching or whether they were actually like almost like influenced on set to put on such a good portrayal. Like, but
yeah,
he said like Billy Chapin, the kid who played John, seemed like acting was in his fucking blood. Like, I would love to see other things that kid has been in.
Yeah, like what he grew into.
Yeah, right.
I didn't think Pearl was too terrible either. You know, she played the annoying little sister role pretty well. I mean,
right. I'll clarify. the actress, the child actress, did a very good job of playing that little girl. I hated that little girl though.
It's like some Joffrey shit. Yeah, like wow, this kid really killed it as Joffrey because holy
Right.
shit, everybody hates him.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
The hardest criticism I have of Pearl, or at least the actress, the young child actress of Pearl, was the forced smile that comes on her face when John's telling her a bedtime story. Close up of her, it looks so forced. It doesn't look like a natural smile at all. Where I feel like it's not that difficult to make kids smile these days, or I don't know how,
Yeah, they should have
Yeah.
just CGI'd it. I don't know why the fuck they didn't do that. Like, come on, man. How many millions of dollars went into this movie, and they're just
I
Fire
definitely
that bitch.
cut her out.
Get her out of here.
I definitely got choked up, a little teary eyed when John presents Miss Cooper with the apple wrapped in the doily. Like,
Yeah.
Really?
That-
I thought
that
it was
choked me
so
up.
cheesy.
That choked me up.
Okay, be it
choked me up.
be it
I don't know.
Flanders.
Here's the
Yeah,
thing. But here's the thing, though, is for me, the scene that really got me was when she was like reading out of the Bible to the kids, and he like comes in and they both have an apple, and he like touches her hand
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like makes
That too.
contact with her. That's
was
really
sweet.
what kicked
Yeah,
me in the dick. Like
yeah,
that was
good. I don't know though, the doily apple thing. Like he literally just walks over and he's just like, "Yeah, this will do," and he just like grabs it, puts it in the thing, and like clips
Mostly-
it up or something. I was just like, "What the hell?"
And mostly because it was a callback to that scene. where he-
Okay.
yeah.
okay.
That's why that scene was him giving her the apple was better for me.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
he was like,
you
he
guys
was
are both
forming a
wrong.
bond with her.
but-
He didn't have anybody to bond with at all, you know? Like he didn't
Right.
have.
He didn't
Like
have
his-
that much of a relationship with his own mother.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, the one person it felt like he did have a relationship with. I felt like he had more of a relationship with his dad in the 10 seconds we saw them interact
Yeah.
than he did with almost anybody else in the movie. So to see him
Yeah.
finally connect with somebody who's like actually
Well,
a decent
or
person.
the drunk dude.
Oh yeah,
Uncle.
Uncle Billy.
Uncle
Yeah.
Birdie.
Unky.
And my favorite line of
Birdie
Uncle Birdie's
Steptoe.
was when he yanks the fish out of the river, and it's like, "There, you slimy snag tooth
Oh my
bait."
Dude, that scene was great.
Just
That's-
banging it with the fucking
He just
oar
he
in the
dicks
boat.
that thing straight into his boat.
It's great. I loved it.
Oh,
Holy
man.
shit. That's what I'm saying. Like every line that dude has pretty much is goddamn hilarious. All these like ridiculous ass old timey phrases and shit. It's perfect.
Yes, so and so.
Yeah.
I'm so spoiled by newer horror movies that I half expected him to like try to help the kids and then get taken out by
Right.
Robert Mitchum's character, and instead him just being drunk, passed out on the floor felt better to me.
Yeah.
Like it was like I was like, I know exactly how this is gonna go. I've seen a horror movie before, and it did not go that way, and it just felt truer to his character.
Was more
Like,
realistic.
I almost wonder if it was just like a plugged in alcohol is bad message to help appease the Christians. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Very well
yeah.
could be.
When was Prohibition? When was that?
It ended in the early 30s.
Yeah.
Okay. So probably then, yeah, because this was set in the Depression era. So
It was, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Him immediately thinking that they were gonna blame him if he like reported.
That seemed a little off to me.
Yeah, he's just like, they're gonna think it was me. They're gonna think it was me. It's like, why? Why would they think
Yeah.
it was you?
I think he's got some history there.
Because he found them. I don't know.
There's a story we're not being told. is
Maybe
my
he was-
I
assumption.
murdered my
Yeah.
wife, so
Well, yeah, maybe he was suspected of murdering his wife, even though he didn't do it.
there we
Maybe.
go. That must be what it was.
Now, let's face it.
And-
He's got hundreds of bodies buried in the fucking river. He sees that showboat come into shore all the time. He knows its schedule. Like there's a lot going on with that guy.
Yeah, he
We
probably-
don't
been
know.
killing
he probably
somebody
had
once a
fish
week.
that he
Like, well,
put
if-
on that line before putting it in the river, and then pulled the fish out of the river. And go, check it out.
If I tell them about this body that I saw, then they'll find all the rest of the bodies that I know are dead.
Yeah.
Can't
That's
do
why-
that.
That's why he was so upset when he saw her floating there, because he was like, "Oh shit, there's a body! Like I thought I hid them better."
Yeah, like, murder means cops, and cops means they're going to start nosing around. They start nosing around, they're going to find my meth lab in the back of the skiff. Next thing you know.
Liquor lab.
Oh,
Yup.
man.
You're gonna
Harry-
find my steel.
Harry's so sing-songy that the chase scene where he's chasing the kids towards the skiff and they finally get away. When he starts humming, I half expect him to break out into song, and before he starts actually wailing, I half expected him to just totally start singing something.
Swing low, sweet chariot.
Yeah.
Well, this is out of place.
We
Turns into a
covered
musical.
Yeah. Oh man.
We're like doing the mob scene, everybody immediately just starts tap dancing and shit.
Fuck.
we covered Willa's death scene, which was very heartbreaking but extremely well shot.
Did you guys catch that shot underneath the cows? I liked like when they get to the barn.
Yeah,
The camera just pans underneath them. I don't know. I liked that scene a lot. I thought that was well shot.
What, do you like seeing the udders, or?
Oh hell yeah, bro! It's like 25 titties or something. I'm in.
That slow
Yeah,
drip
let me
coming
see
from the
how-
udder.
Yeah, that drip.
Cows got drip, yeah.
Yeah, fuck the cinematography. Yeah, it was all about them titties.
I like getting adjusted to these older mid-century movies where people are addressed by both of their first and last name all the time. I'm not used to that, but I'm actually like kind of enjoying just the exposure to older movies like this.
Yeah, it turns out old movies are fucking phenomenal. Weird.
Yeah.
It's almost like they paved the way, right?
Walt Spoon.
Oh man, I do really enjoy watching these older movies. I don't know, a few months ago we were over at my mom's for the night and we were watching, what was it, just Gone with the Wind, and it was we watched Gone with the Wind with them, I'm pretty sure, and it was just like, wow, this is just a fucking amazing movie. No wonder, like everybody knows that, but
Dude, you want to talk about movies that did not age well?
yeah.
Yeah, there's
Still
a few
good
things.
movie,
Yeah.
but it's got its problems.
There was a lot of things in this movie that just definitely felt like a product of the time. Like Ruby gets ice cream bought for her and immediately is just sploosh like all over the place. I love him. I love him so much. Like he bought you a magazine.
What was up with that?
Yeah, and then like Cooper isn't even like, yo, like she the way she comes at her is like, yeah, I know you're trying to find yourself a husband and throw out a litter of kids like every woman wants to do, but just not this guy. It's like, whoa.
How did she know right away that he wasn't a preacher?
Well, he was asking about the kids.
He had the tats on her hand, and she probably assumed that if he had the tats, then he must have been of ill repute.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because she noticed them almost immediately. She looked at them and like kind of gave him a side eye. Plus, I think she just trusted the kids. So I think the moment that John was like, "That's not our dad," she was like, "I'm gonna believe this kid."
Yeah,
because Cooper's an absolute G.
Oh, you know what I just realized? I was trying to think, like, I know I've heard that, like, left hand, right hand, love, hate thing before. And it just occurred to me, it's in Do the Right Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, he does that. He does that same thing almost verbatim in Do the Right Thing.
Yeah. Oh, God.
But he's got, like, he has, like, brass knuckles or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a name.
yeah.
I haven't seen that movie in forever. It's like one of the very few things I remember from that movie.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's been a while.
Movie
I also, it occurred to me the evil preacher dude from Poltergeist 2 is probably modeled on.
Oh, that's another movie I
Have you
haven't
guys
seen
seen
in an eternity.
Poltergeist 2?
I haven't seen it. How is that?
Not
It's,
good.
it's
Okay.
a Poltergeist movie.
Poltergeist sequel.
It's a Poltergeist sequel. Yeah.
Gotcha. I would say other influences. Obviously, the Coen brothers have made homages to this, and they generally show small towns, small town America, blended with noir. Tarantino in Pulp Fiction. There's the one character who quotes the Bible. And Guillermo del Toro with blending fantasy and horror. And there's one other one I can't think of.
Jeff, I'm pretty sure I've seen that guy down at the bus station several times.
Quoting with the tattoos, yeah.
Let me tell you, I wouldn't hate a cigarette. I'd love it.
Another movie that was searched for along with Night of the Hunter is No Country for Old Men.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, money being sought by, well, not multiple parties, in, at least in Night of the Hunter, but Javier Bardem's character potentially portraying evil.
Just that whole hunt aspect.
Yeah.
Just a character being hunted down over money.
Yep.
Yeah, I really didn't have anything else really, but I thoroughly enjoyed this fucking movie.
This is one of those older movies that, like, as someone who wasn't raised on black and white old school movies, it can be hard to go back and watch a movie like this. But I feel like a movie from this time period, like one of these really older flicks, if it's still watchable and good at this point, I think that's really a testament to how well it holds up. Like this, or like Citizen Kane or something like that. Like I could watch that movie and stay awake and enjoy it the entire time.
Yeah. I also didn't grow up on black and white movies, and really enjoy them when I do see them. I feel like, I don't know, they're like a piece of Americana, obviously, if they're American made, but like they just, I don't know. They evoke a feeling that you just can't get from movies nowadays.
True. Very true.
Yeah, I love old movies. I think they're just a time capsule to something you can never go back to. Do you guys know who's still alive in this movie?
Oh shit, there's somebody, the kid probably.
Yeah, Pearl. Pearl is still alive.
How old?
But that's
is she
the thing.
now? Like 80.
80s. Yeah.
Born in 1948.
Yeah. That's the thing that's cool about old movies is you can watch a movie made by people who are all dead today.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's cool as fuck,
it
bro.
It is.
Oh no, I agree,
Very
Joe,
cool.
because it's like a piece of history. Yeah, I mean these things really are just, like you said, time capsules, and it's impressive how well they're able to do everything with the limited technology that they had at the time, the limited understanding they had of acting and acting practices. But then again, I mean, some of the greatest actors of all time were, from back in that era, from stage acting and everything.
Yeah, it's crazy. This like feels like an old art house. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel like a streamlined movie from back then.
Well, yeah, that's why it was such a failure, and it was only revived in art museum showings and things like that.
Interesting. I got a question. Why is the name of the movie The Night of the Hunter?
It probably refers to the last night when he's hunting them, but yeah.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Trying to get in the house, and I think I'm spoiled by newer flicks because it felt very anticlimactic at the end. Like him just getting shot, running and hiding in the fucking barn for an entire night until he gets picked up by the cops in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. This movie was remade in the 90s, but it doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. It was a TV movie. It's probably terrible, and there's talks of them remaking it as of 2020.
You could remake this and do a really great job with some of the actors we have now.
I feel like this is a movie that could definitely be remade.
Holy shit, Willem Dafoe. Holy shit, dude.
Holy shit.
After noticing this was the first movie, I'm pretty sure this is the first movie I've seen Robert Mitchum in, but I was trying to think of who he reminds me of, and it's Peter Falk. He looks like Peter Falk
or like old school Kirk Douglas.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep, I can see that.
I think, was it this guy and Kirk Douglas that had beef? I can't remember. There was like two big actors that kind of looked similar that had mad beef and wouldn't work on movies together, and I think it was these two.
I don't know.
like old school Hollywood drama. Are we ready for ratings?
Sure.
I think so. Yeah.
Let's hear them.
I'll go first. All right. I absolutely love this movie. I love the genre, the blending of genres. I think it's really suspenseful. It holds up to me. So I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I have my issues with it are with like the messaging at the end of it. It doesn't have like a cohesive message. And that's really the only thing I would fault it for. Any of the technical issues, I can't fault it for. So
It's all
say,
product of the time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot you can do about a shaky aerial camera back in 1950, whatever.
How about you, Billiam?
Oh, I like this movie a lot. I had some issues with just like the pacing. I mean, like that, like we talked about, that's like a product of the time, but it still affects my rating. I don't have nostalgia glasses for this, of course. So, I don't know. The acting was phenomenal, so I really enjoyed seeing, for the most part. You know, most of the actors were great, so I liked that a lot. The settings were really good. Movie was fantastic. The music was fantastic, I should say. But all in all, it wasn't my favorite thing that we've watched. I'd probably give it like a 7.5 out of 10.
I'm right along Joe. I think this movie was phenomenal. Any issues that I have are right in line with Joe. I just feel like the messaging was very muddled in regards to what the movie was trying to get across. But outside of that, almost everything else is on point, especially for the time. Like some of these shots really blew me away for how damn good they were for the time. Like there was a lot of things that were really, really good here. But yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a 9 out of 10 as well.
I'm pretty close. I would say 8.5 out of 10. Mostly because I can't even really pinpoint where the deductions lie outside of just, you know, what the shaky aerial cam. But again, that's for its time. I just overall really enjoyed seeing another mid-century movie that holds up and could be, like we talked about, could be remade, but doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
I think all we got
Okay.
left is Jeff.
Yeah. I thought it was okay. As old movies go, I think it's a better one. But just in movies overall in general, I think it shows, you know, kind of how far we've come in the last 70 years. I give it like a 6.5.
Thank you for listening to the Five Guys Movies and Fries podcast, film reviews and discussions. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and listen to the audio-only version on Spotify. Thank you. Have a good night.